Have you ever sat down with your morning coffee, opened up the newspaper to the crossword puzzle, and thought, let's give the brain a little workout today? You fill in a few words, maybe scratch your head on a couple of clues, and after a while, you feel pretty accomplished. And you should. That little puzzle takes some brain power. But here's a thought that might surprise you. What if crossword puzzles, by themselves, aren't really doing enough for your brain? Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good crossword just as much as anyone. There's something satisfying about watching the boxes fill up, solving a tricky clue, feeling that little rush of victory. But as we get older, our brains need more than just wordplay. They need variety, challenge, and above all, they need to be used in ways that stretch different muscles, not just the same ones over and over again. Think about it like this: if you walk the same mile every day, on the same sidewalk, with the same pace, it's better than nothing, sure. But after a while, your body stops improving. Your muscles aren't challenged anymore. They just go through the motions. Your brain works the same way. So if your main mental workout is doing the same type of puzzle every day, especially one you've gotten good at, you're not stretching your mind anymore. You're just jogging in place. And while that's not harmful, it also isn't going to keep your brain as sharp, flexible, or strong as it could be. The good news is, you don't have to give up your crosswords. You just need to mix things up a little, give your brain new things to chew on. And that's what today's conversation is about. Staying mentally sharp, especially after 60, isn't just about solving clues. It's about exploring, trying, engaging, and most of all, having fun while doing it. Let's start with something you might not expect, something surprisingly powerful for the brain, learning something completely new. Not reviewing, not brushing up, not polishing what you already know. I mean trying something that makes you feel a little awkward, a little clumsy, a little unsure. That's the sweet spot. You see, when we were younger, we were constantly learning. New schools, new jobs, new people, new skills. But as we get older, our days become more routine. And while routine brings comfort, too much of it can dull the brain's edge. One of the best things you can do for your brain is to shake up that routine, to learn a skill that doesn't come naturally at first. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's learning a new card game. Maybe it's using that smartphone in a way that makes your grandkids proud. The important part isn't being good at it. The important part is struggling through it. There's a woman I once met at a community center named Dolores, 74 years old, never played a musical instrument in her life. But one day, she decided to pick up a ukulele. Why? Because it looked fun, she said. And I figured if I could learn it, I'd prove to myself my brain still got it. The first few weeks, she was awful. Her fingers didn't want to cooperate. She couldn't remember the chords. But guess what? After a few months, she was playing songs, singing along, and, here's the best part, she said she started noticing improvements in her memory and focus in everyday life. Like her brain had turned up the volume again. That's because learning something new lights up parts of your brain that haven't been used in a while. It builds new neural connections. It boosts confidence. And it reminds you that you're still capable of surprise. Now let's talk about another activity that often gets overlooked, movement that involves the mind. I'm not talking about lifting weights or running laps. I'm talking about movement that requires coordination, attention, maybe even rhythm, like dancing, tai chi, or even learning a new kind of stretching routine. Why is this so helpful? Because when your brain and body work together, something magical happens. You're not just moving, you're thinking. You're reacting. You're anticipating. You're building balance, both physical and mental. There's a gentleman named Harold, 78 years old, retired truck driver. He told me he joined a local line dancing group with his wife, mostly just to keep her company. But after a few sessions, he started feeling sharper. You gotta remember the steps, he said, and if you miss a beat, it throws you off, so you really have to pay attention. That's the point. The brain loves interactive movement, the kind that keeps you engaged and challenged. It improves your coordination, reaction time, and even helps protect against falls, which is a nice bonus. So if you're tired of sitting at a table with a pen and grid boxes, consider standing up and letting your brain learn through motion. And speaking of interaction, one of the most effective brain boosters of all doesn't come from a book or puzzle at all. It comes from talking to people. Yes, conversation. I don't just mean casual small talk. I mean real, thoughtful conversations. The kind that make you listen, think, respond, laugh, remember. Every time you engage with someone, your brain lights up in ways no puzzle ever could. It pulls from memory, language, emotion, attention, all at once. There's a kind of mental gymnastics that happens during storytelling, joking around, sharing opinions. You're not just recalling facts. You're connecting them, expressing them, adapting them. That's high-level brain work. And it doesn't feel like work at all, it feels like life. If you're still watching and feel that these insights are meaningful, please type number 2 in the comments to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I warmly invite you to do so, and don't forget to turn on the bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos designed to uplift, inform, and inspire. Your support truly means a lot. It's what keeps us going and allows us to continue sharing thoughtful, helpful content just for you. Now, let's continue this journey together. Now, once you start noticing how alive your brain feels after a real conversation, you begin to understand something important. Staying mentally strong isn't about isolating your brain in a room with puzzles. It's about involving it in life. In relationships, in movement, in laughter, in learning, and yes, in a little healthy challenge now and then. One of the best ways to keep your brain truly engaged is something surprisingly simple, but incredibly effective: learning how to teach something to someone else. You see, there's a big difference between knowing something and explaining it. When you have to teach something, even if it's just showing your neighbor how to use their phone or explaining a recipe to your grandchild, your brain has to work harder. You have to organize thoughts, recall steps, simplify ideas, and communicate clearly. That process lights up your mental circuits in a powerful way. I remember speaking with a woman named Clara, 68 years old, retired nurse. She said she used to volunteer once a week teaching basic first aid to teens at the community center. It kept me sharp, she said. They'd ask questions I hadn't thought about in years, and I'd have to really dig into my memory. And it didn't just help her memory. It gave her a sense of purpose. A reason to stay mentally active. A way to pass something on and feel needed. And let me tell you, feeling useful is brain fuel. When you have a reason to remember, your memory gets stronger. You don't have to teach in a classroom or write a manual. You can start small. Share something you love, baking, gardening, sewing, playing cards, with someone who's curious. You'll be surprised how much your brain benefits from the process of breaking things down and making them clear. Now, let's switch gears a bit and talk about something we often take for granted: laughter. Yes, laughter. Good old-fashioned, belly-shaking, eye-watering laughter. You might not think of it as a brain activity, but in truth, it's one of the most complex functions your brain performs. Think about it. To laugh at something, you have to understand it, interpret it, connect it with past experiences, recognize timing, and appreciate the twist. That's a lot of brain power. And not only that, laughter lowers stress hormones, increases oxygen to the brain, improves mood, and strengthens your immune system, all things that support long-term brain health. There's a man named Benny, 73, who told me his daily mental routine includes watching 10 minutes of comedy clips on YouTube every morning. It wakes up my brain better than coffee, he said. And I start my day with a smile. And really, isn't that what we all want? To feel lighter? More alert? More alive? Laughter isn't just a break from thinking, it's a way of thinking that keeps your mind agile and joyful. So don't underestimate the power of humor. Whether it's a funny podcast, a phone call with a friend who makes you chuckle, or just watching your cat do something ridiculous, those moments of laughter are tuning your brain into joy, timing, creativity, and emotion. Let's move into something that might surprise you: playing games, but the kind that involve strategy and interaction. Now, before you say, "I'm not into board games," hear me out. Your brain thrives on variety. And when you engage in activities that combine memory, attention, decision-making, and unpredictability, you activate more areas of your brain than you do with repetitive word puzzles. That's where games like cards, chess, dominoes, or even certain video games for seniors can come into play. And no, you don't have to be competitive. It's not about winning. It's about learning, adapting, and socializing. For example, bridge is an incredible game for cognitive health. It involves math, strategy, teamwork, and memory, all in one sitting. But even a simple game like Uno or Rummikub can be effective, especially when played with others. There's a couple I know, Tom and Judy, who host a weekly game night with their neighbors. They rotate games, sometimes cards, sometimes word games, sometimes something silly and light. "It's not about the game," Tom said. "It's about staying sharp and connected." And that's exactly the point. You want your brain to stay flexible. You want to give it problems to solve, decisions to make, and people to engage with. That's how you build cognitive resilience, the kind of mental strength that helps you stay quick on your feet, even as the years go by. Games can bring joy, connection, laughter, and challenge, all at once. That's far more powerful than silently filling in letters on a crossword grid. So when you think about brain activities, think big. Think social. Think emotional. Think physical. Think fun. Your brain is not a machine to be trained, it's a living, breathing part of you that wants to be moved, not just exercised. It wants to be surprised. It wants to play. It wants to learn and grow and connect, just like you. Isn't it amazing to think that keeping your brain sharp after 60 isn't about working harder, it's about living more fully? When we move past the idea that mental health is just about sitting quietly with puzzles, and instead step into a life filled with curiosity, play, movement, and connection, we realize this is what keeps us young. Because staying mentally strong isn't about memorizing every detail or solving every riddle. It's about staying engaged with life. Being present. Being open. Being willing to keep learning, even if it's messy or uncomfortable. And that leads me to one final, and perhaps most powerful, brain activity of all, doing something meaningful. Something that gives you purpose. Now I know purpose is a big word. And it can sound like a lot of pressure. But I don't mean it in a grand, heavy sense. I'm not talking about saving the world. I'm talking about doing something that makes you feel like you matter. That your time, your presence, your energy, they all have value. Purpose might look like volunteering at the library or mentoring someone younger. It could be tending to your garden, taking care of a pet, or writing letters to your grandchildren. It could be joining a walking group, cooking for a neighbor, or leading a simple weekly craft circle at your local center. Because here's what happens when you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. When someone is counting on you, or you're excited about something, your brain turns on in a new way. You're not just passing time. You're living it. Fully. And your brain thrives on that sense of direction, of contribution. I met a man named Saul, 81 years old, who told me he volunteers once a week to read aloud to second graders at a local school. He said the kids love his stories, but more than that, he loves how he feels afterward. "I go home feeling like my mind has been completely refreshed," he said. "Like I'm still part of the world." And that's what it's all about, isn't it? We don't stay sharp by clinging to the past. We stay sharp by leaning into life. By trying new things. By letting ourselves laugh, struggle, connect, and care in ways that move us, not just mentally, but emotionally. So yes, if you enjoy your crossword puzzles, keep doing them. But don't let them be the only tool in your brain health toolbox. Your mind is more than a riddle to solve, it's a conversation, a dance, a spark, a connection. It needs all of that. Try something new this week, even if it's just one small thing. Call a friend for a real talk. Help someone learn something you know well. laugh out loud at something silly. Challenge yourself with a game you've never played. Or just sit down and write one memory from your life to pass along. Because when you do that, when you live from a place of engagement and intention, you're not just keeping your brain active. You're honoring all the experiences, all the wisdom, and all the wonder you still have to offer. And if you've made it this far in the video, I hope you know something important. It is never too late to grow sharper, to feel more alert, to enjoy deeper focus, more connection, and a lighter spirit. Your brain isn't fading. It's waiting. Waiting for you to invite it into something more than routine. Waiting for you to surprise it. Waiting for you to believe in it again. So let's not just stay busy, let's stay brilliant. Let's not just fill in blanks, let's fill our lives with meaning, movement, laughter, and purpose. And if this video inspired you, even just a little, I'd love to hear about it. What's one brain-healthy activity you love? Or one new thing you'd like to try? Share it in the comments. Your story might be just what someone else needs to hear today. And of course, if you found this helpful, give it a like and subscribe for more tips on living with clarity, confidence, and joy, no matter your age. Here's to your mind, still alive with curiosity. Here's to your heart, still open to new adventures. And here's to you, still full of light, still learning, still incredible. You're not finished growing. You're just getting started.